They called her the perfect pastor's daughter, quiet voice, humble smile, the girl other mothers used to shame their own children. But Favor's double life finally cracked in public. A pregnancy exposed her, a church WhatsApp message detonated her reputation, and Pastor Stanley did what no one believed he could do. He chose his altar over his own daughter, and the whole church watched her life collapse. Every Sunday in Abuja, Pastor Stanley's church ran like a machine. Not because angels were helping, because fear, respect, and structure were helping. Pastor Stanley was the kind of pastor people quoted in their own houses. He didn't just preach. He corrected men openly. He warned women openly. He called out youth behavior like he was fighting a war. And his biggest proof, to the members, was his daughter, Favor. Early 20s. Fine face. Soft voice. Always in front. Choir? She was there. Praise and worship? She was there. Sunday cleaning? She was there with a headscarf and a bucket like she loved it. When mothers wanted to insult their daughters, they used her name like a weapon. See Favor. See how a pastor's daughter behaves. Favor used to smile when she heard that. She never corrected anyone. One Sunday after service, the church was still noisy. People were taking pictures. Youth were forming circles. Workers were packing cables and chairs. Favor told her choir leader she needed the restroom. The choir leader didn't even look up. Go, my dear. Favor walked straight to the women's restroom at the back corridor near the children's class. She didn't go in alone. Brother Daniel followed her. Not a small boy. Not a random church member. Brother Daniel was one of the trusted brothers. The type that carried the pastor's Bible. The type that people liked because he was always available. They entered like they were just two church workers passing through. The door closed. Inside, Favor didn't talk long. Brother Daniel stepped close to her, and she let him kiss her. Then he pushed her lightly against the wall near the sink, and she didn't resist. She adjusted her blouse, pulled him closer, and their hands started moving with practice. Then the restroom door handle shook. Someone tried to open it. They froze. A female voice outside said, "Is someone inside?" Favor's eyes flashed, quick and sharp. She raised one finger to Daniel, quiet. Then she answered, steady like she was alone. "Yes, Ma. I'm coming out now." She waited. Footsteps moved away. Brother Daniel tried to speak, but Favor stopped him. She straightened her skirt first. She checked her face in the mirror. She wiped her lips with tissue like she was cleaning dust. Then she opened the door and walked out first. When Daniel came out behind her, he didn't look at anyone. Favor walked straight back toward the choir stand. On her face was the same innocent smile the whole church trusted. And nobody questioned it. That same week, on Friday evening, a group of youth leaders met in the church office to plan a youth program. Favor walked in late, holding her phone like she owned the place. One of the younger sisters, Sister Mesoma, stood up quickly. "Ah, Favor, we've been waiting." Favor sat down without apology. Brother Jonah, the youth president, cleared his throat. "We need volunteers for Saturday evangelism. Pastor wants strong attendance. Everyone must represent well." He looked at Favor the way people always looked at her, like her yes was automatic. Favor smiled. "Brother Jonah, I'm not sure I can make it." The room went quiet. Jonah tried to keep his voice calm. "Why? It's just 2 hours. We are going as a church." Favor leaned back in her chair. 2 hours is still 2 hours. Sister Mesoma looked confused. "But you always..." Favor cut her off with a soft laugh. "My father is the pastor, not me." The laugh was small, but it landed like a slap. Nobody expected those words from her mouth. Brother Jonah's face tightened. "Favor, this is the kind of thing people will misinterpret." Favor looked him in the eye. "Then let them misinterpret. I'm tired." Jonah pushed. "You know how people see you. You are an example whether you like it or not." Favor nodded slowly like she agreed. Then she stood up and picked her bag. "You people like that example, not me." And she walked out of the office. Sister Misoma followed her out, more confused than angry. "Favor, are you okay?" Favor didn't slow down. "Tell them I'll come for Sunday cleaning. That one, I can do." She reached the car park, opened the passenger door of a waiting car, and entered without looking back. The driver's face wasn't visible from where the church workers stood. But the car moved immediately. And the youth leaders inside the church office sat there, silent, because no one knew what to do with the truth they had just heard from the pastor's daughter. When Favor gained admission into the University of Abuja, the church celebrated her like she had won an award for all of them. Pastor Stanley mentioned it briefly during announcements. "Pray for our children as they enter higher institutions. The world is not friendly." The congregation nodded. They believed Favor would represent them well. Favor packed her bags and left Abuja with a different plan. She did not join any fellowship group on campus. She did not attend the campus branch of her father's church. The first Sunday in school, she woke up at noon. She looked at her phone and saw 6 missed calls from her mother. She didn't call back immediately. Her roommate, Toke, had already studied her. "You don't behave like a pastor's daughter," Toke said one evening while applying lip gloss. Favor didn't look up from her phone. "Because I'm not one." That Friday, Toke dragged her to a birthday party off campus. A rented apartment. Loud music. Bottles already opened before they arrived. Favor didn't stand at the corner like a shy church girl. She walked in like she had been waiting for that room her whole life. A guy named Malik noticed her within minutes. Clean beard. Expensive sneakers. The type that moved like he didn't worry about money. He didn't ask what department she was in. He asked, "Are you always this quiet, or are you judging us?" Favor laughed. "I stopped judging people a long time ago." He handed her a drink. She hesitated for exactly 3 seconds. Then she took it. An hour later, she was dancing on a small center table with 2 other girls, shouting lyrics she would never sing in church. Her phone buzzed. "Mummy calling." She looked at the screen. Then she turned the phone face down and continued dancing. Around 1 a.m., Malik suggested they step outside for fresh air. They didn't stay outside. They entered his car. When she returned to the hostel close to morning, her makeup was smeared and her blouse was missing a button. Toke looked at her carefully. "You sure you know what you're doing?" Favor removed her heels. "I'm finally doing what I want." That was the first boundary she crossed in Abuja without fear. But it wasn't the last. 2 months later, Favor was no longer new on campus. She had stopped hiding. Weekday classes. Weekend hotels. She learned quickly which hotels didn't ask too many questions. That Saturday night, she was in a small hotel lounge near Wuse with 3 friends. Smoke floated in the air. Bottles lined the table. She was laughing loudly at something Malik said when someone near the entrance froze. Sister Charity. A committed church worker. She had traveled to Abuja for a training workshop and was staying in the same hotel. She recognized the voice before she recognized the face. She turned fully. And there was Favor. Drink in hand. Cigarette between fingers. Malik's arm around her waist. Sister Charity didn't move for a few seconds. Favor saw her. The smile dropped from her face immediately. Not panic. Calculation. Charity stepped closer. "Favor?" The friends around the table went quiet. Favor removed Malik's arm slowly and stood up. "Auntie Charity. Good evening." Charity looked at the table. The bottles. The smoke. The men. "Is this how you are representing your father?" The question landed heavy. Malik shifted uncomfortably. Favor didn't lower her eyes. "I'm not representing anybody." Charity's voice hardened. "You are the pastor's daughter." Favor shrugged. That's his position. Silence stretched between them. Charity pulled out her phone. I don't think the church knows who they are defending. Favor stepped forward. Don't be dramatic. But Charity had already taken a picture. Not a blurry one. A clear one. Favor standing in the middle of bottles and smoke. Charity turned and walked away without another word. Malik looked at Favor. You think that woman will cause problems? Favor picked up her drink again. She won't try. But she didn't drink it. Instead, she stared at her phone. Because for the first time since she left home, the wall between her two lives had cracked. And someone from church had seen everything. Sister Charity did not sleep that night. She stared at the picture on her phone more than once. She zoomed in. She zoomed out. She looked at the date and timestamp. Then she opened the church workers' WhatsApp group. She typed, "Please pray for our youth. This was taken tonight in Abuja." She attached the picture. She pressed send. The message landed at 6:12 a.m. By 6:15 a.m., blue ticks filled the group. At 6:18 a.m., the first reply came. Brother Jonah. This must be old. Sister Misoma. This doesn't look like Favor. Another worker. People can Photoshop anything. Charity typed again. I met her there. I spoke to her. The group grew tense. One senior worker finally wrote, "Delete this. Do not spread rumors about the pastor's family." Charity didn't delete it. She replied calmly, "I did not create the picture. Someone privately messaged Pastor Stanley before 7 a.m. By 8 a.m., Pastor Stanley had seen it. He didn't type in the group. He didn't defend her. He didn't accuse Charity. He only wrote one sentence. I will handle my house." Then he exited the group. The screenshot started moving beyond the workers' group. By afternoon, it reached the main church group. Some defended her. Some stayed silent. Some forwarded it quietly to others. Favor woke up to 42 missed calls. Her phone vibrated again. Daddy calling. She let it ring. Then she turned off the phone completely. But turning off a phone doesn't stop a rumor. Favor returned home the following weekend like nothing had happened. She dressed carefully. Long skirt. Headscarf. No makeup. She arrived early for Saturday cleaning. When she stepped into the church compound, the difference was immediate. People did not greet her the same way. The older women who used to hug her only nodded. Two teenage girls who once followed her around went silent as she passed. Near the tap where members fetched water for cleaning, she heard it. That's her. She looks innocent. Abuja has finished her. Favor bent down and picked up a mop like she always did. Brother Jonah approached her slowly. He didn't smile. Pastor wants to see you after cleaning. She nodded. While she cleaned the front pews, 3 women stood near the entrance watching her. One of them said loudly, "Some children embarrass their parents publicly." The sentence was not whispered. It was aimed. Favor continued scrubbing. Sister Misoma walked toward her, hesitant. Is it true? Favor stood up straight. What exactly? The hotel picture. Favor looked her directly in the eye. You saw it. That's not what I asked. Favor dropped the mop into the bucket. Believe whatever makes you sleep well. She picked up another cloth and walked away. At 10 a.m., Pastor Stanley stepped into the hall. Cleaning stopped slowly. His face was calm. Too calm. He looked at Favor from the altar. He didn't call her name publicly. He didn't shout. He simply said, "Favor, come." The hall fell silent. Every eye followed her as she walked from the front pew to the altar. No one blinked. No one moved. She climbed the steps and stood beside him. Pastor Stanley held his microphone loosely. Is the picture circulating true? He did not lower his voice. He did not protect her with privacy. The question hung in front of the entire cleaning team. Favor did not cry. She did not kneel. She did not pretend. Yes. The word entered the microphone and filled the hall. Someone near the back gasped. Pastor Stanley nodded once. Go home. Wait for me. She stepped down from the altar slowly. No one touched her. No one spoke to her. As she walked out of the church compound, two small boys stopped their football game to stare at her. And for the first time in her life, she felt what it meant to walk out of church without protection. Favor reached the house before her father. Her mother was waiting in the sitting room. Not crying. Not shouting. The television was off. Sit down, her mother said. Favor Saturday. Her mother placed the printed picture on the table between them. Someone had printed it from the group. You denied nothing. Favor did not answer. Are you still seeing that boy? Favor looked at the floor. There are many boys. Her mother inhaled slowly. Do you know what you have done to this house? Favor did not apologize. She only said, I didn't ask anyone to make me an example. Her mother stood up and walked away without another word. The gate opened 30 minutes later. Pastor Stanley entered. He did not greet anyone. He went straight to his study and called her inside. Pastor Stanley closed the study door behind her. He did not sit. You have embarrassed this house publicly. Favor stood near the bookshelf, arms folded. I didn't commit a crime. You committed rebellion. He placed the printed picture on the table. You knew who you were. I am not your sermon. He stepped closer. You carried my name into a hotel. She met his gaze. You carried your name to the altar. I did not ask to be born into it. The room went silent. Pastor Stanley did not slap her. He did not shout. He said something colder. If you want to live like that, you will not do it from this house. Her face tightened slightly. Meaning? Find the man responsible for that life. Stay with him. Or leave my house. She held his eyes for a few seconds. You're choosing reputation over me. I am choosing order. He opened the study door. Pack your things. That was the first enforcement. But it was not the last. 3 weeks passed. Favor did not go back to Abuja immediately. She stayed in the house quietly, avoiding church. One evening, she walked into the kitchen and felt dizzy. Her mother watched her carefully. Have you been unwell? Favor hesitated. Then she sat down. There's something else. Her mother's face changed before she even heard it. I'm pregnant. The spoon fell from her mother's hand and hit the floor. Silence. Not shock. Confirmation. Does your father know? Favor shook her head. That night, her mother told him. The argument was not loud. It was controlled. Pastor Stanley called her into the sitting room. Who is responsible? She mentioned Malik. Is he ready to marry you? She didn't answer. Does he even know? Silence again. Pastor Stanley made a call. He demanded to speak to Malik. Malik denied responsibility immediately. Sir, we were just friends. The call ended. Pastor Stanley placed the phone on the table carefully. Then he looked at Favor. You will not bring disgrace into my house. She swallowed. What does that mean? You will leave tomorrow. Her mother tried to speak. He raised his hand. This house cannot carry this. The next morning, 2 church women arrived for early cleaning. They saw Favor stepping out of the compound with a small suitcase. Her stomach was not yet obvious. But rumors travel faster than evidence. By Sunday, the entire church knew she was pregnant. By Sunday afternoon, the story had changed from hotel picture to pastor's daughter pregnant. Favor called Malik one last time. He didn't pick up. She stood outside a small apartment she could barely afford, holding her bag in one hand and her phone in the other. No church member came to check on her. No youth leader offered a room. She unlocked the door herself. And she stepped inside alone. Favor did not return to university. She gave birth in a government hospital with no father present. She named the child Peace. Peace did not solve anything. 3 months later, rent expired. Malik blocked her. She started learning tailoring in a small market not far from her father's church. She swept floors. She ironed clothes. She carried the baby on her back while customers bargained over lace. The church women saw her. They did not greet first. They watched her like evidence. And she kept working. Almost 1 year later, Abuja surprised her. One afternoon in the market, a small crowd gathered near the entrance. A black SUV had parked awkwardly. People whispered. The man stepping out was dressed clean. Confident. Malik. He had come to price wedding clothes at another tailor 2 shops away. He did not see her at first. But she saw him. The baby was standing beside her now, holding her wrapper. One of the market women recognized him from previous visits. "You know this girl?" the woman asked casually, pointing at Favor. Malik glanced over. Their eyes met. For 2 seconds, he froze. Then he recovered. "I don't think so." The lie landed calmly. Favor did not shout. She did not run toward him. She simply called the child. Peace. The little girl ran toward her. She carried her and walked slowly towards where Malik stood. The market quieted. "You don't know us?" she asked him directly. He looked around, uncomfortable now. "This is not the place." She nodded. "It wasn't the place when I called you either." Murmurs spread. The tailor he came to meet stepped back slightly. "You said you were single," the tailor said quietly. Malik's confidence cracked. "This is unnecessary drama." Favor did not insult him. She did not accuse. She just stood there holding the child that looked too much like him. The resemblance did what shouting could not do. The market owner spoke. "Is the child yours?" Malik didn't answer. He returned to his car without pricing anything. The SUV reversed clumsily and left. The small crowd did not clap. But the silence that followed carried judgment. Favor returned to her sewing machine. She did not cry. She continued stitching. That day, for the first time, the embarrassment shifted. Months later, during another Sunday service, something happened that no one planned. Pastor Stanley was preaching about discipline again. Halfway through the sermon, a woman from the congregation stood up. Not a youth. Not a gossip. An older woman. She faced the altar and said loudly, "Pastor, forgive me, but we judged your daughter too quickly." The hall froze. The woman continued, "My own son got 2 girls pregnant in this city. We hid it. We settled it quietly. We still sit here as if we are clean." Murmurs spread. Another man stood up. "My daughter aborted twice while I was shouting amen in this church." Pastor Stanley did not interrupt. He held the microphone but said nothing. The hall was no longer controlled. People began speaking from different corners. Not chaos. Confession. Favor was sitting at the back with Peace on her lap. Nobody looked at her with superiority anymore. Nobody looked at her as the symbol. For the first time, she was not the only exposed person in the room. Pastor Stanley finally spoke. Silence. The room obeyed. He looked towards the back where she sat today. Not as a pastor. As a father. Then he said something he had never said publicly. "My daughter sinned publicly. Many of you sin privately." The air shifted. "This altar is not cleaner than your houses." No applause followed. Because it was not entertainment. Service ended early that day. People left quietly. Outside the church gate, a teenage girl approached Favor. "Is it true they pushed you out?" "Yes." "Are you angry?" Favor looked at her daughter. "No." The girl hesitated. "My mother says pastors' daughters are the worst." Favor adjusted the child on her hip. People are the worst when they pretend. She walked away from the church compound without waiting for agreement. Peace held her finger. They crossed the road together. And this time, nobody whispered.